250 years ago, there was no poor relief in Norway. If you were poor, your family or local community were responsible for providing food and shelter. In Agder, poverty was particularly common. In 1753, the Bishop Paludan remarked that Kristiansand is a poor town. I have not been in any town where I have found more homelessness or beggars than in Kristiansand. Poverty had many causes, but the most common were illness, alcoholism, high age, crop failures, and fires. Not until 1786 was relief to the poor formalized and organized by the church. Children and adults who had fallen into poverty were now distinguished from those who did not want to work and those who begged. Begging was forbidden and punishable by law, with either fines or imprisonment. Orphan children and children with parents who were in jail or addicts were to be given help and placed in proper families. At 12 years of age, boys would start work in factories or as craftsmen, while girls started as maids at the age of 16. Throughout the 19th century, the number of poor people in Kristiansand grew. The almshouse did not have enough money to provide for everyone needing help, and hence donations from wealthy people in the community were important. In 1833, the Crown Prince Oscar gave 600 riksdaler for distributing among the town's poor. Anne Åsmundsdatter was among the many poor and infirm women who asked for help. She wrote, "Now, as I am over 60, I am too weak and sickly to do other work than spinning to earn my keep. Therefore, I humbly ask that I might give in a modest portion of the help His Royal Highness has graciously donated to the needy of this town." A National Poverty Act was established in 1845. The intention was to standardize care for the poor across the country, and responsibility was placed on the county governments. The number of poor in Agder was still high compared to the rest of the country. Hard living situations meant the children had to walk far distances to work during the summer, and many left for America. Still, around 10% regularly sought help from the county government. Most unfortunate were the mentally ill. 9 out of 10 of these were poor, until more dignified caretaking facilities were established. They were carted out to strangers, locked up, chained, left naked, and treated like animals. For a family with low income, any illness could be devastating. 34-year-old butcher Johannes Christensen, his wife Jesbine, and their 3 children experienced how illness caused poverty. They lived in the 11th block of Østerbyen in Kristiansand. The housing in this area was rarely painted. Windows were small and far between. Hygienic conditions were severely lacking. For many years, Johannes suffered from a sickness, with symptoms like opened wounds, knots on arms and legs, and deformity in mouth and nose. He could not work, and the family had to receive help from the local government. Cold winters, unsuitable housing, and little work meant famine and disease among the working families around 1870. Again, private donations were needed in order to help. A wealthy businessman and politician, Ludvig Adolf Lømsland, got involved and started a soup kitchen. He spent his life fighting for better living conditions for the poorest in Kristiansand. Towards the end of the 19th century, the government began emphasizing that poverty was caused by unemployment. Focuses turned to social help and getting people into work. In 1900, a new Poverty Act was introduced and remained unchanged until it was replaced by the Social Act in 1964. Today, NAV is responsible for the tasks of caring for the poor. The sources for this exhibition shows differing experiences in meeting the various social institutions. In the next room, you will learn about how poverty is experienced today. People might not freeze or starve today, but poverty remains a debilitating power in the form of isolation and loneliness.